Thank you very much for joining. Good evening, all. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are joining from. Okay, thank you very much for joining. This is the Aspire for Excellence Foundation, and you are welcome from wherever you are joining. This is the September edition of our webinar series, and today we will be having a topic. Export opportunities in agriculture.
I'll be introducing Mr. Rotimi now. So after a short bio on Mr. Rotimi, the next voice you'll be hearing will be the voice of Mr. Rotimi Ojamoy. So without further ado, Mr. Rotimi Ojamoy is an alternative investment and risk analyst with a certificate from the Harvard University and a deep expertise in guiding investors through Nigeria's challenging economic landscape to build secure and profitable portfolios. With a background in business development strategy and venture capital, he has successfully managed breakthrough projects and helped clients navigate volatile markets. He holds an advanced training in business administration from West London College and brings a unique blend of creativity, innovation, and strategic insights to investment advisory. As the founder of the Forward Thinking Initiative in Agro Real Estate and Alternative Investment, Mr. Rotimi focuses on merging real estate and agriculture to deliver diversified inflation hedge portfolio. His approach not only secures long-term returns, but also contributes to addressing food security and sustainable development in Nigeria. So that is a short brief on Mr. Rotimi Ojamoy. So the next voice you'll be hearing will be that of Mr. Rotimi Ojamoy. So sir, the floor is yours, you can take it.
Okay, good evening, Sas. Good evening, Mars. Good evening, everyone. My pleasure joining in. I'm Rotimi Ojamoy. Can we hear me loud and clear?
Yes, we can. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you so much. So I want to quickly ask some aligning questions while we flow into the content, and then we can have a discussion about this export thing. Basically, I know the topic is aligning export opportunity from agriculture. But let's ask this question. What exactly do we want individually now? You want to do export business or you want to make more money? So A or B, let's choose one. Or we can choose both. You can mute your microphone or just chat up. Let's have some alignment to this. Is it export or more money or more income? A and B. Okay, Mr. Michael, you want A and B. Mr. Balema, you want A and B. Okay, Mr. Chooks, which one? That money have been export. Mr. Chidebere. Okay, so let's reduce the option to one. Thank you, Mr. Emmanuel. Just one. Which one do you want? Export or more money? Okay, thank you so much. I think most times the alignment is actually the fact that it's just more income we want. The means is not actually the problem. I just want more income, and something will lead to that income. So if export is what will lead to that income, then we need to learn about exports. We need to learn what it takes to do export as business. And whatever alignment you have to make more money, it is something you need to build knowledge about. If I want to go into oil and gas, I just need to be well informed how to operate in that space. And that's why I appreciate the organizer for putting this together so we can learn learn the curves and learn what it takes to do some sort of export business from Nigeria. I'm going to be running through some slides and running through some of the agric areas of the produce or the products that we can concentrate on if we want to do export. Now, the export value from crops in Nigeria is wide. It's so much. I'm going to read through some of these crops and also talk about the countries that we can actually export to. Last year, I was privileged to have a presentation at the United Kingdom House of Lords, and was defending sustainability and RSPO for Africa, for Nigeria. And one of the greatest things we were talking about is the export potential for Nigeria, why a lot of our products are not being exported. So you go to UK, US, Canada, you see Ghana yams everywhere. You see, and it looks like, we have yams in Nigeria. Why is Nigerian yam not in the UK? And right in that country, you have well over 1 million Nigerians living there. But the export opportunity is so reduced for us. And so I was curious to ask at the panel, but what's the problem? Why are you not giving us chance to create some market in the UK? And it boils down to the process of exporting. It boils down to, go to the next slide. It boils down to the fact that if we want to do exports, we have to learn what is acceptable in those countries. So what is Ghana doing differently that is making Ghana yams acceptable everywhere? One of the biggest exports in Ghana today now is the Ghana yams. It's everywhere. And then you see very konkolo yam selling for £5, £7. I saw one recently, £11. So you are buying just a small yam for 25,000 naira or 30,000 naira. And that's a lot of income for them. And part of this discussion was the fact that Nigerians don't care to do a lot of hygiene before the package stocks, and it has disturbed a lot of our export opportunities. So we're going to talk through all these areas also and see what actually is acceptable in some of those countries. Then we'll round up by talking about the income potential, about exporting out of Nigeria to other countries. And then I will speak majorly to our expertise in agriculture, from cassava to oil palm to yams. We currently in Lagos State run the biggest farm in Lagos State, and we have done over and over again over 1 million tubers of yams right in Lagos State. Some of us may be surprised that where's the land in Lagos? Don't worry, we are planting on the lagoon. We are planting on the ocean. Lagos have good land, good arable land in Ekpe, and we are maximizing that to plant. And I think last month I was privileged also to be in an invitation by the Commissioner for Trade, Cooperative and Industry, where we were also discussing exports, Afrexim Bank and the rest. So a lot of opportunities are available for export. But one of the greatest things is that let's also know which crops have the market. Number one, you have the sesame seeds, and that is a market of over 247 billion naira. And I'm not speaking to projection now. I'm speaking about something that was done in Q1 2024. 247 billion naira worth of exports from sesame. Number two, you talk about cocoa beans. Don't worry, this is not in the slide. I will adjourn it. I just want to run through this, then go to the slide. Number two, you talk about cocoa, and this is crazy. 1.32 trillion naira. That is $854 million worth of export from cocoa and its derivatives. In Q4 2024, exports surged to 1.2 trillion in Q4 alone, 2024. And so you have sesame, we have cocoa, then we have cashew nuts. In the first half of 2025, cashew did $398 million. In 15 months recent, that is over 281 billion exports from cashew alone. So we have spoken about three now. The fourth one, ginger. Most of us see ginger, and we may not even consider that as an exportable crop. But ginger has a massive market also. In 2023 Q2, ginger did over 10 billion naira in export. And then that is about $10.4 million. Then you talk about oil palm. The global market world is over $90 billion currently. And Nigeria is even struggling to even export because locally we are challenged. Now, what opportunities do we have in the export space? That is from the slide, you can see that that's a market of over $2 trillion by 2030. And these figures are not some cooked figures somewhere. The only relevance for export is that these products serve both both domestic and industrial use. Cocoa, your chocolates and most things. Oil palm, your cosmetics, your pharmaceuticals, even your foods. And then you talk about sesame seed. You talk about recently the president put a stop to what's the name of this product now that the president just banned recently?
Share butter.
Share butter. Thank you, sir. I mean, the market potential is huge outside because we just take away the seed and then production. So the value for export is on what these seeds eventually give to the countries where it gets to. And one of the things we can also focus on in this presentation is beyond exporting raw materials, which is one of our greatest debates at the House of Lords last year. Beyond Nigeria exporting raw materials, and I can also boldly tell you that from that presentation, we have a funding line that we got from a lot of investors from the House of Lords, because they were not interested in investing on our raw materials to be exported. They were interested on refining those raw materials so that we can export the finished products. I mean, that's how much interest this was. Beyond packaging your sesame seed and transporting it out, can we add value to it and export the value? You see what Dangote is doing right now. Crude oil, we take it out. But Dangote is now refining and exporting refined products. So the market is beyond just exporting the raw products. If we export just kernel, a lot of products come from that kernel. The PKC that feeds the animals, the kernel oil that is used for a lot of cosmetics and other pharmaceuticals. If we can process these components, then we have some more exportable products. Now, let me speak from the palm oil side of it. From the palm trees, you have the palm fruit. From the palm fruit, you can process palm oil. You can export refined palm oil. In Canada, one of the best oil that sells in the market is the Banga oil. And that Banga oil is well refined. The FFA is very low. So, I have a friend who set up a supermarket in Canada, and then he was required to provide some lab reports before that can be acceptable. So export is just beyond just thinking about the product and pushing it out, and even just refining and pushing it out. The requirements. So by the time he took the Banga oil to the lab in Canada, perfectly accepted. And then he has a big supermarket now where they sell Banga oil because it has gone through refining and also acceptable standards. Now, I'm just going to run through on the products, then I can come down to narrow to our choice about focusing on the one that we actually want to have interest on. So beyond just exporting the raw materials, like we said, we can focus on a finished product that we want to export. Shea butter, you may not need to export the seed. You can focus, why did the president ban the shea butter? You need to understand the history also. One smart Nigerian in the north just decided to build a 30-ton per hour mill. And then he's now making sure that the shea butter is processed into finished products. Then he exports the finished product. Rather than exporting the raw materials in tons, it is easier to export the finished products than even the seeds. That is a value also to concentrate on if you want to do export. What value in our agri business can you take? What product, rather, can you take, add value on, and then export the finished products? which is even more easier. Now, don't let us even speak more English about the ones that maybe they are far too rich. Shea butter, a tree can take over 30 years before it starts fruiting. Let's even talk about cassava. That is even easier. Starch is exportable. At that date, you have a lot of factories in Nigeria that are doing ethanol production. Ethanol is a mega business now, exportable. So how do you refine cassava into ethanol and then export ethanol? Not exporting raw cassava now. So you see factories coming from India, coming from Pakistan, coming from these countries, establishing processing lines and then exporting this value. The ton of starch that are exported within Ogun State from cassava is massive. I know some factories, I've been to some around the Djibouti. If you get there almost every day, you will see over 50 trailers waiting with cassava to offload into the factory for processing. And after processing, they export this value. They export the starch, they export the ethanol, they export every other component that come from this. And then also make feeds for animals and for other components that can be used. So export is big. But you must understand that we need to break it down. What value should you focus on if you want to export? You want to export raw materials, or you want to add value to the products and have a better advantage for exporting? Let's move to the next slide, children. So Nigeria's untapped export potential is massive. Despite being richly endowed, Nigeria contributes less than 3% to the global agricultural exports. In Africa and globally, we have massive land that can serve exports. I jokingly would tell people that we can't export phone to China. Yes. You cannot export car to UK. You cannot export machines out of this country to the Europe or to Germany. One of the greatest things we can export is agricultural produce. Because the world has gone far ahead in terms of orders. So if we have a focus on agri as a major component of export, the market is huge. The deficit in those countries is that they don't have land to produce what we have. Cocoa don't grow everywhere. Palm trees don't grow everywhere. Sesame trees don't grow everywhere. Most of the things that we can focus on to export in Nigeria to the world don't grow everywhere. Let's go ahead and try. Move on this slide. I'm sorry, I think I have a little disruption about the slide. So focusing on the products that we want to export is very strategic. So let's narrow this down to interest now. What product exactly are you focusing on if you want to do export business? We started from the foundation. You must have knowledge about our product. Not my friend told me sesame is selling. Then you carry your retirement fund and go and put it in sesame seed. And then you get to the UK and they tell you, oh, the light and the weight of this sesame is not acceptable here. A lot of persons have made great loss from exports because of lack of knowledge. Or somebody tell you yam is selling in UK, and then you carry your yam. I mean, even a state government in Nigeria exported yams in tons, and they were all sent back. They were not accepted because the yams were not processed rightly, and then they were returned. So you must have knowledge in every product that you want to export. And number two, you must determine the business part of it, because exporting is not NGO. Any product that you cannot determine the market acceptance and then the profitability for it, please don't put it into your portfolio, because business is about profiting. It's not NGO. Oh, shea butter is selling. You must ask yourself, if I invest $10 million in shea butter today, what's going to be my profits? I mean, just like I told you jokingly, we have the biggest yam farm in Lagos State and one of the biggest farms, confirmed by the Commissioner for Agriculture on a visit to our farm last year. But as massive as our yam plantation, and even what we do currently today in cassava, in palm oil, we are still limited in exports. And why are we limited in exports? I'll tell you that you will put more energy to export yams to the UK and make less profits selling it into the Nigerian market if you don't understand the business aspect of it. Let me repeat that. For your 10 or your 1 ton of yam to pass through custom in Nigeria and in the country that you're taking it into, you will pay a lot of bills. And then you sell it to the market, and maybe some even get bad on the journey, because definitely some of these goods are perishable. And by the time you are selling, your profits is almost gone. So you have to determine the products and know the shelf life and the profitability of that export business before commenting. If I'm putting 10 million naira into this export, what guarantee do I have that this 10 million naira will come back with 5 million naira for me? And that is where I will now narrow down to the one that is best known to me, which is palm oil for now. And we've done a lot of investment in palm projects, a lot of investment. The shelf life of the palm oil is over a year. It means you can have it in storage for long. I mean, if you get into a cold region, it's even preserve it better. And so exporting palm produce, either the kernel oil or the palm oil, is a good wealth. And one of the factors is that it's a global commodity. It's a global commodity. It is not racial commodity. And I'll speak to that. So some of us, we want to export, and we have the idea, when I take yam to the UK has over 40 million people living in it. The 40 million people don't eat yams. You have to determine the market size of your products. Yes, most especially it is only some part of Africans or some African that consume some products that you are exporting. I was privileged to be in South Korea in 2023 on the federal government sponsorship, a 2-week sponsorship for some projects, and we visited a lot of factories, a lot of businesses, and then we discovered why export is a problem in Nigeria. Because, for example, if you're going to export to South Korea, what products can you take to South Korea? The fact that yam is exportable, you not carry yam to South Korea, nobody's going to eat your yam. But what value can you add to yam that can go to South Korea? Is it the flour? Can it be converted into other products? Because in South Korea, they don't eat Nigerian yam. But the products that can be more useful to them are products that can serve their own commercial use. I mean, a lot of herbs, I didn't even speak to that. A lot of herbs, scent leaves, and so many other herbs, leaves that you can grow that are exportable after adding value to them, because most of these international cuisines, they use a lot of herbs. So you can research into herbs and add value to them. Dry them, I mean, as low as ugu leaves. It has a lot of potential. You dry it, you add value to it, you can export it. So the products, the markets, the income potential is a major component of every export that you want to think about. It's a major component of the export you want to think about. Let's begin to run down as I speak directly to the palm oil business. Now, the global market for the palm oil is rising. And why the global market is rising, also there is a lot of global contention about deforestation and the rest. But another part that we have created to this is that you don't need to do the exporting all by yourself. You can invest in the palm projects, and then you have a communal export resource, and I will explain that. Or it may not be palm, it may be cocoa. You can invest in the communal projects, and then the export is easier, and I will explain this. One of the things we have created with the asset-rise agro real estate model is to build communities that are dedicated for agriculture. And that is the funding we got, because we were able to create an agro-smart city, and I will explain the city. So in this city, this brochure is 93 pages. I may not be able to share. You have different districts of agriculture. We have the district for greenhouses that grow just herbs. You have districts for meat production, ranching. We have district for palm oil, palm plantation, and we have district for residentials, and then we have district for agro processing, which is the one that concerns us. Now, if my capacity is just to do 1 ton of a product that I want to export, it is safer when we are in a community. Now, the advantage we got from this project is that from the funding we got, there is going to be there's warehousing system. There is also this hibernation system. I forgot the English they use now. Quarantine system, where every product that is to be exported is tested to meet up with the standard of the country that it's going to before it even moves out. And we also got into this with our partnership with the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, when we're doing yams, and we said we want to export yams also because we need to do some export value for yams. And then we got into the quarantine discussion. From the beginning of the production, you must determine what is acceptable there. What size is acceptable? What moisture is acceptable in the product? And even what type is acceptable? Not all yams are exportable. Most of the yams that are consumed abroad are the Puna yams. So are you growing the Puna yams, or you are growing the Benue yam? So we have to determine a lot of this factor. And that is a huge investment if you are doing that alone. So when you come into a community where this can be then collective, it is safer for you. You don't have to lose much money because you're not going to power the entire research. You're not going to power every other thing that comes with it. So I advise that if you want to do export and you want to do agriculture, it is safer in a community. And I love what is happening tonight. We are learning together. It is good that we learn together, but we can also upgrade from learning together to collaborating. If there's something that has created massive wealth in the UK for the Indians, for the Pakistans, is their force of togetherness. That's the problem we have in Nigeria. It's always a one-man show. It's always a one-man gets it all. Almost all the businesses in the Silicon Valley, they are not owned by one man. Facebook is big, massive, but it will be shocking to note that Mark Zuckerberg has less than 10% of Facebook. So what I'm trying to say is that if you want to profit from exporting from agriculture, it is safer in a community. You determine the basis for the community. So why do people not collaborate in Nigeria? Trust. Trust is a global concern. It's not a Nigerian problem. I mean, recently I stumbled on an ad on YouTube and I sent it to my friend in Saudi Arabia. And he said to me, oh, be careful. Indians are scamming everybody in the UK now, producing different apps and producing different stuffs. Scam is not in Nigeria origin. It is global. What is the basis for a collaboration? Number one is legality of the structure of the system. We are 10 in this room, or we are 50. We want to do exports. We will create the handbook. We will create the model. And everybody who must join must agree to that model. So the legal structure is stronger than individual interest. However, individual interest is also protected by the legal structure. That is how Indians get into UK. They buy one house. There are 10 that live in that house. And from that one house, they begin to buy for the other one until every 10 of them have a house. And then they bring another 10 batch, and before you know it, an entire borough is occupied by them. Before you know it, supermarkets occupied everywhere by them. Collaboration gives ease to business, and especially in risky portfolios like export. I can't lie to you, export is a risky portfolio. You want to do export, you have to think through the risk. I mean, I'm a certified risk analyst, and the risk part of every business is the major thing you should think about before dropping a dime. If you drop money blindly into a business, oh, it's my brother, it's my sister, he pitched it to me. I mean, it's only a beg. You carry the person, go EFCC, you not go solve them. After you have lost your money, you have lost your money. And God forbid, it's even your retirement money. So the risk part of the business can be well diluted and made less risky when we come together as a community. And I begin to round up. So if we come together as a community, then we can determine in this community of 10 or 50 that we are creating, what export business should we focus on? And then we do our R&D and conclude. And then we now say, okay, let's even start with maybe 1 million naira as share capital into this export and export the first 1 ton and see the result of it. And then we do the next 2 tons. I have a lot of persons who are invested in cocoa today, massively exporting cocoa. They started as a group. They started as a group, and they've grown bigger chain of cocoa investment today. Because it's always safer as a community. Your knowledge can't power it alone. The collaborative effort of everyone who comes into that partnership can make it. And then you may not even need to be the one having the knowledge. You can employ experts like myself and other people who are well knowledgeable in that product, in that area, to do it on your behalf. But don't just trust anybody. Make sure they are tested before you handle your money. Though all that will have been covered in your legal structure. Before a dime is released, what are the things you are calling for from the organization? What are the things you are looking into before you release that money to that person, to that organization, to consult or to do the exporting merchandise process and everything on your behalf? With that, we are safer. Now, I want to round up by saying that what we have created in Asset Rise with the agro real estate model, with the Palm Ridge project, is one of the most sustainable movements in agriculture in Nigeria. And we've done this well over 7 years now. A lot of investors who have invested in our Palm Ridge projects. Ibadan is fruiting. We're milling palm oil. We have 2 mills, one donated by the federal government, one we built ourselves. Ekpe is upstream. Ondo State upstream. One of the advantage with the palm project is that it is very sustainable. I mean, in Port Harcourt, everywhere you are, you see the palm tree flourishing, most especially in the mangrove area. If you do your due diligence and invest in palms as just one area of exports, you can scale it. If you do your due diligence and invest in cocoa, you can scale it. But what am I saying? The agro real estate model that is built around community, that is built around ownership, that is built around equity is sustainable for everyone to come into export and agriculture. And I want to say thank you for listening. And I'll take questions as I shut down my presentation. But my slides continues. We're going to share with you. Our major impact is beyond just the product. So when we started by saying, what exactly do you want? Is it more money or export? The means is not as important as the end. The end is the most important thing. You can have all your means if the end is not well thought through or defined. Because at the end of it, you just want to make money. Yeah, you're not an NGO. You just want to make money. So you have to define, and we have a lot of collaborations to make that have made agriculture work for us. Like we said, partnership is a major thing. Our impacts beyond profits, our partnerships, IITA. You can imagine going into yams without consulting IITA, and you want to export yams. The international research organization that makes sure that you do the very right product that is acceptable anywhere. And then our funding pattern, our insurance. If you are exporting, insurance is a major concern also to safeguard yourself, either in export or in agriculture. Insurance is a major concern. and then take your questions, and then we can hit some more points from your end. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Thank you so much. Could we please appreciate maybe digitally now our speaker, please? Thank you so much. Okay, thank you. So we'll start by checking. So please, you could raise up your hand and we would call you. But just to state, please, if you have any questions, put them in the chat box. And like we said, you would see the media handles in the chat box. Okay, to be able to get these materials later. We have some hands that are up, but let's check the chat first before we call them. Okay, we see one question here by Margaret. It says, can you invest financially without being involved in the day-to-day running of a business? If yes, what's the ROI? ROI, I believe, meaning return on investment. I don't know if you got that question, sir.
Loud and clear, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So there are different ways of investing your funds. You have the capital markets, and then you have different model of partnerships that you can create to invest. Now, to be practical with your question, you can invest without being involved, without doing the day-to-day operations. If you're an engineer and you are on the rig, I mean, you're an oil and gas guy, and then you want to do export, definitely you can combine export with going to the rig, because the dedication to make that business scale will not be there. But if there is an organization that is doing that, or you have a community that is practically set up with all the legal system, that you can commit your funds into it and determine how those profiting will come. And one of the baselines for doing that is what the cooperative system is. The cooperative movement in Nigeria and globally is one of the biggest movements for passive wealth creation. We have cooperatives in Nigeria that own microfinance banks, that own different chains of businesses, and they are profiting. And why do I make emphasis with the cooperative? We have a cooperative also we started with, and now we have two cooperatives that are currently running. I was saying that it is a secure system because the government is the umpire. Beyond an individual who come and just collect your money and speak English to you, the democratic system that powers it is backed by the government. And so if you want to invest passively, you can either join a cooperative, but determine the objective of the cooperative. It can be an export-oriented cooperative. This cooperative just won't do export business. You can join an agric or a farming cooperative. Maybe you want to just do cassava. So if we are doing 10 hectares of cassava, we are going to be making 1 million every year. We will share the profit like this. But we don't want to be the one to cultivate. So we employ a farm manager, or we outsource to an agronomist or an agriculturist who can do that on our behalf, and it pays our profit. Or you just want to do what we have with the Agro Smart City model or the Palm Rich model, where you just buy land, we plant the palm trees for you, it grows, and from the third year, it starts producing revenue for you. It's not your business, whatever happens. The land belongs to you, which secures your capital. And then the land also appreciates over the years, which is why we say this is very secured and sustainable. I'll give you an example with those who invested in our Ekpe project. Ekpe sold for 700,000 Naira in 2022. You buy one plot, 700,000 is inclusive of planting palm trees. And the palm trees are planted. And today, that one plot is now 4.5 million. And now you start earning from your palm oil production that is on, the palm trees that is on your land. And you don't need to go to the farm for that to happen. The palms are harvested, processed, and you earn. So you can invest in different structure. But understand the structure also. Is it a debt model or is it an equity model? Now, if we are going to say ROI, return on investment is diverse. It can be equity. Equity means we are not owing you, it's not debt, just like we said in Palm Rich. Whatever the land produces, what you get. Debt is, oh, don't worry, give me your 1 million, I will give you 30% every year or 35% every year. If you are doing debt, also make sure that the company that you are doing that debt model with has SEC license. Because if you lose your money, you can't cry to anyone. So you have to choose which handle you want to do. You want an equity investment or you want a debt investment? You want a community model like the cooperative, or you want to go to the capital market? So I think that's a wide topic on its own. But however, you can invest passively and sit in your house. I mean, most wealthy people invest passively. They are not active in the business. The business just runs and they get their returns. But there are legal structures to everything. And if you want us to take that further, I mean, if the host permits us, we can elaborate that and tell you what happens to this and to that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Has asked a question just to refine. She said, that's exactly my question. What's your smart city? What's the ROI today? From your smart city, what's the ROI?
Oh, okay. Thank you. Sorry for going to Wiri and coming back to a number. The smart city model is simple. You buy the palm trees. You buy a land in our palm-rich estate. The land belongs to you. And then the land starts fruiting palm trees. We don't promise you an ROI. We project what the ROI is going to be. Like we said, it benefits you better that way. So, for example, the palm oil price will always go up. As our date is about 70,000 or thereabouts. And it can go further. So if, for example, we have said, in this your one plot that you own, because the land belongs to you is equity. That's why I was explaining the difference between equity and debt. You own the land. The titles and the documents are handed over to you. It's just like you build a house. You are getting rental income from the house. By next year, you can start to increase your house rent. But for these palm projects, once the trees are planted in your land, they start fruiting. Whatever we produce from the land, which is also projected, on a plot, you can have 10 trees. On an hectare, you can have 150 trees. On 10 hectares, you have 1,500 trees. Now, for 10 hectares, for example, you can make 30 to 50 million at the current value of palm oil. Next year, it can be over 50 to 100 million. So what we promise or what we project is to tell you that whatever comes from this project will be audited by the tribe, and then you make your money. But one guaranteed thing is that you can't make loss. You will make even better than the 30-35% projection that we can put on paper for you. However, that investment is not a debt model. Now, if it is a debt model, then we can say, okay, let's sign a contract. You're going to be getting 20% every year. And then after 10 years, you cease owning the land, you get your capital, and you move out. So the structure of the investment determines what ROI question that surrounds it. I hope that's clear now.
All right. Thank you very much. We have a hand up, and this is Chiemeka. Okay, Chiemeka, please, can you unmute your mic and ask your question? And we have another question in the chat box, but we take Chiemeka before Ekwana. Thank you.
Okay, good evening. Thank you very much, the host and our guests. I just want to ask based on where I'm located, because most of the examples you gave are in the west regions of Nigeria. Now, for those of us in the south, for instance, I stay in Asaba. How can I, and if you, of course, most places, if you understand Asaba, you know there are barely no lands because that's all been sold. So how can I, for instance, partake or get myself involved in such a way that I can make benefit within the same region? That's my question.
Thank you so much. Yeah, perfectly. Thank you.
Okay.
Now, I believe also that Asaba has some potential and some agri potential. I know, especially in Delta as a whole, palm is one flourishing product also, palm plantation. Our dear MD of Rain Oil, Gabriel Beshe, for some of us who know, we're in oil and gas. He has 4,000 hectares in Delta, not in the south. And that's a very big plantation. So you can look for agri projects that are accommodative to the south And spices also. I mean, the South likes spices. It may not be a very big farm. It can be a greenhouse. You can grow spices that are exportable. However, let me speak generally to investment as a whole now. If you want to make global wealth, then don't limit yourself to your location. I used to ask this question, why do Nigerians buy properties in Dubai? We are not from Dubai. Why do we own houses in UK? We're not from UK. Investment is about profiting. It's not about location. It's about my return and the security. So why should I own property in Lagos, for example, or in Ogun State? It's simple. Lagos has the highest appreciation value in Nigeria property. I live on the mainland of Lagos, precisely Omole, and a plot of land in my estate is over ₦1 billion. And that's not the most expensive. In Banana Island, you have property going for over 2 billion. In the Co-Atlantic, you have property going for over 3 billion. But some persons bought this same property, this same Omole now. I know people who bought land for 50,000, for 900,000, and now their property is over ₦1 billion. If I buy that same land in my village, in Ondo State, it may not give me that appreciation. So it is not a location issue most times when it comes to investment. It's about profiting and security. But if you now want to, do a local investment, what are the opportunities available in your locality? Like I said, you can do greenhouses for herbs. You can do palms. If cocoa is not, land is not available for in Delta, there are things that you can do in Delta that can accommodate the climate. Thank you. I hope I answered that.
Yes, you did, but I just have a follow-up question. I wanted to know, is there a market for these scent leaf plants? I don't know if it has a special name. I just know it as scent leaf. I think they call it ephedrine in Yoruba or something like that. Yes. I want to know, is there a market for it?
There's a market for it, but the question is, how big is the market? The demand must be well enough to accommodate your investment. So, for example, I don't know so much about ephedrine or scent leaf market potential now, but you can do that research. Go on Google and ask the questions. What's the market size and where can you export ephedrine to? I know other herbs products. I've forgotten. I have a list of herbs I'll share with us that are exportable. They are consumed in South Korea, same in US, same everywhere, a lot of international cuisines. So you can then determine the herbs that has a much better demand to invest in. Because like we said, business is about profiting, it's not about passion, it's not about what is available, it's about what is profitable.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Okay. If we go to the chat box now, we have a comment. Thank you, Mr. Rotimi, for this wonderful insight. As information is power. Ways to invest have never been taught in most schools. Please, how do I partner with your company or any other licensed company to go into this special agricultural produce exportation to the UK, or start the refining of them locally for better profitability? But I think I skipped a question because before then there was one. So if you permit me, please, let me take the question from Elkwana first. I will read the other one. Is that okay, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. So let me take the question from Elkwana. That came about 6 minutes ago, 2021. Okay. Outline from the inception of your smart city. Let's see the outline of the historic ROI each of the years since inception. This is from Elkwana.
Okay, thank you, Elkwana. I love people who always put us to the edge, because it's very good. Nigeria, a lot of people can tell you stories, and there are no proofs. So we started our palm projects 2018, and then in Ondo State, when I returned from the UK, I discovered that a lot of the palms in my village planted by over 10,000 hectares have been abandoned by the government. So we wrote to get some license to begin to revamp. And then we partnered on, and we started producing. And then we created an investment model for it. Our first investor, I can share his contact, he's willing to speak to anybody on our behalf. He's in Port Harcourt. He invested 15 million Naira. Until today, he does not know where our office is. And I can tell you that 15 million has grown from 2018 to over 100 million Naira today. So every year he rolls over his investments. And the simple metrics is that we buy palm oil from that investment because he doesn't want to own palm plantation. We buy palm oil from local producers. So let me also say that we graduated from 2018 when the COVID started, we partnered with Zenith Bank to create a collaboration for farmers, over 300 of them, and we begin to take their palm produce from them. So we'll pay them ahead of the year and take off their produce. So when the produce appreciates, it doesn't concern them anymore. And then that's a lot of profit. And that's a lot of business you can do also. Because from January, palm oil dropped in prices. And I remember that year, it was about 8,500. And at the end of the year, palm was selling for almost 45,000 or 30,000 thereabouts. So that's about 100% profiting. And so we grew that capital over time by off-taking. Same with cocoa and every other thing, you can off-take. Same with even maize. You can off-take and the rest. But to be direct at your question, so we have those breakdown of the number of people that came into our investment. But we created a legal structure around it also. We had a cooperative license that power people coming into that. Because every investment, please, the legal structure is the most important part. Once your money is gone, forget story, forget your English, forget EFCC. They cannot kill the person. If they send him to jail, you are still going to be hungry. So the legal structure was a point where we determined that people can come together, invest, and it was democratic. And so we have that history to share with you. But fast forward into the Palm City, the Agro City now. We have a video recording of our last ROI declaration in April, right? And a lot of Nigerians and diasporas were live in that meeting. We have the video, we're going to send it to you if you want to watch. We declared over 60.8% return from our Ibadan plantation, milling and producing palm. Now, don't forget the model, they own the land, but the palm oil alone itself gave them over 60.8% ROI. We have that video, and a lot of them were testifying, I mean, this is what should happen in Nigeria for good. So, and then fast forward into Ekpe, Adodo, and even our funding from international government. So we have all these records. We can share them with you. They are public records. And they are our collateral that build trust for us. So if you request for these materials, for the sake of time, we can share with the host and then you can have it and go through them. If you are convinced that you can speak to us to do business with us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Whatever you share, we could share it on the Aspire for Excellence Foundation WhatsApp group, okay? Okay, so let's get back to the first comment. I'll read it again. Thank you, Mr. Rotimi, for this wonderful insight. Information is power. Ways to invest have never been taught in most schools. Please, please, how do I partner with your company or any licensed company to go into this special agriculture produce for exportation to the UK? Or start refining them locally for better profitability, okay? After that, we have another question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. It is simple. If you want to partner with us, like I said, we're going to share the materials. One of the biggest projects we have right now is the Palm Ridge Estate project and the Palm Ridge Farm. You own a land, we plant palm trees on it, and then you can earn for over 30, 40, 70 years, as long as you leave those palms there, and then your land is appreciating. It's a simple model, and then you have guarantee because the titles are given unto you. You can have as it is physical, it is real estate plus agriculture. Now, on the part of adding values and then exporting, and even for what we do with the Palm Ridge, one of the things we're advocating right now is for communities like this. to go beyond knowledge. I mean, I love the impact that this is creating. People have information and they can make decisions, and we appreciate the host. But moving this beyond knowledge is that you can create an SPV. For those who are interested, I always advocate that don't invest in silos, because if you invest as a team, you have more power, you have more legal power to defend yourself. If you lose your 10 million as a person, you may not have the power to fight alone. So you can graduate this into 20 of us come together, we create an SPV. It has a legal structure. We can help you do that. Have our lawyer structure it for you, and then we determine, we want to invest in cocoa, or we want to invest in palm oil, or we want to invest in sesame tree, sesame, and then we want to export it. And then we can have a business discussion about it. And the business discussion is different from presentation like this. It's a full detailed feasibility studies of the product that we have identified as a team to invest in, the profitability, the risk of those products, and then we can create a governance structure. How long do we want to keep this investment on before we even start sharing our profits? So let's say we turn over in 2 years, and then we share our profits. And then you can imagine how that can grow into a multi-billion system coming together. So I want to advise, if you want to partner with us, you can come together, and then we create a structure around an SPV. An SPV is a special purpose vehicle. Just create an SPV, and you can determine what should be invested in it. Lastly on this, I want to say to us that most of the companies that are doing well globally today, take Picnic for example. Picnic started as a cooperative, Caprina Prista. It is over 150 years. It's just one or two persons coming together in that country. The biggest chain of milk distribution in US today in Colorado is powered by collaboration, cooperative. So SPVs or cooperatives can make your investments more sustainable, because you may not have the structure to do the volume that is required for you to export at a time. And you don't also want to test the market by putting your entire 100 million naira as an individual to export, and everything happens, only you that want to get the can, sit on the can and have the can, will lose all the can by yourself. So that's our own model for investing. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Going to the chat box again, this is from Eka. Can we know what it takes to join the smart city? I think partnering with you will be a good place to start in my thinking. Okay, so that's the second to the last. Okay, yeah, okay.
So thank you so much for your interest in the smart city. So it is simple. The model is that we have a city that is acquired, land acquired, and structured with layouts, and then you are buying like you are owning a plot in any GRA, or you are owning an estate. So you own 1 hectare or 10 hectares. The land is titled and handed over to you. The documents, you have it. But whatever you are investing in buying the land, inclusive that crops will be grown on it, and particularly palm trees. That is for the palm district now. We have other districts, the Agro Boulevard districts. The model for the Agro Boulevard district is different from the palm district. For the Agro Boulevard district, you want to have a greenhouse. We get experts to set it up for you. We partner with the Federal University of Agriculture, and they have a lot of trained experts who can set up your greenhouse for you and even employ agronomists to manage it for you. However, for the palm part of it, you own your 1 hectare, your 10 hectare, palm trees are planted on it, and then we nurture it from the beginning to the end. You don't need to come to the farm, or your trees will be raised. And from the 3rd year, the trees will start fruiting. And once they start fruiting, they fruit till over 70 years. For those of us who have experience with palm trees. And from that 3rd year, you start making money every year. Now, you get ROI, which is return on investment, based on the market value of palm oil per year. And like we have said, palm oil appreciates almost every year. So you're going to be getting your value of what it is by the year that it starts fruiting. However, before those years, your land, which is a capital asset that you also own, will have appreciated over time. And a simple exit, if you want to exit, you can decide to sell the land. at the appreciated words and move out. We have people today who are selling their Ibado. I mean, they are cash strapped or they need to do something. They sell at the appreciated value and they make more money and move on to other things. So that is how the Palm City project work. Now, bringing that into export, we have the agro-processing zone, where we aggregate every product that is planted in the agro-smart city to the agro-processing zone, and value addition is made, and then we export to make more money. And I'll give you that difference. The worth of a Banga oil today, 4 liter, is about 25,000 in the market. The worth of the normal oil that is just produced in any farm is maybe 12,000 or thereabouts. So adding value makes a lot of difference. And that's why today Banga is exported anywhere in the world. So that's what the agro-smart city, the agro-processing does. We add value, and the value addition increase your capacity to earn more. And this is done in a community of interest. However, individual interest, your interest is protected one after the other. So how do I mean? Your document is individual. Your land ownership is individual. On your 1 hectare, you have a projection of 3 to 5 million naira every year. On your 10 hectares, you have a projection of 30 to 50 million naira every year. That is the minimum you can expect. And you can have that research even on NIFO. So, and you keep earning from your land, from the produce as the year goes by. So that's how the agro-smart city model runs. And if you're interested, we currently have the Ewekoro running. Ewekoro is a fast developing area in Ogun State. And like we said earlier, location should not determine your investment. I mean location, passion, or your local area should not determine it. Why Ogun State? It is closer to Lagos State. The value appreciation is crazy because population is surging here. Ogun is the capital of industrialization in West Africa today. There are more industry in Ogun State than even in Lagos State right now. And means the value of land is crazy. It's going higher every day. And so your project is appreciating and your value is increasing. And a 10 hectare, sorry, I'm speaking to engineers, I'm speaking to oil and gas people. Don't even ask me for 1 plot. The minimum you can do is 10 hectares. 10 hectares on the Palm Ridge farm is 58.750 million. 10 hectares on the Palm Ridge estate is 98 million. You own the land, you own the palms on it, and then you earn. So you can buzz us, and then we'll create more interest to this for you. But that's as simple as that. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I think some people have asked some questions, but I think you have answered them already. They were asking about the prices. One said how
Can you hear me?
for today, because you have different people from different places. Yeah, I don't know if you want to speak to that. And if you want to share, maybe, I think I saw it in the slide, maybe in the last page of the slide, if you want to share your contacts there, I think that could be okay.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so the slide is there, but we'll drop our number on the chart so you can contact us on. Thank you for the permission, the host. We don't do that usually, and we appreciate you exposing us to your community. However, I also still always advocate that because this is a community and there is a host, make sure that there is a little bit of interest protection around the community. So if we know that 10 persons are interested in doing something with us, let's aggregate these 10 persons. Let's create a structure to make sure that these 10 persons, are accountable to the host and to us. And community secures us better. That's why we live in estates and live in communities. Individualism is good, but community is better. So with our number is on the screen. You can call us individually. We will give you every details that you need, and then you can do business. However, if you want us to aggregate, and I'm taking permission from the host now, you want us to aggregate, if everyone that is interested, just meet the host and say you are interested, drop your number with the host, and then we can create a semi-SPV to say that these 10 persons are interested, they want to do 100 hectares, and this is the governance structure, this is what they're protecting them. We can go as far as even getting a BG for you, a bank guarantee for you, because you're a team, and to make sure that you have some level of security for your investment. And also the host is not going to run into trouble because he exposed us to his platform. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So please, could you please appreciate our speaker for tonight? Thank you so much. I think we're going to draw the curtain here for the day. I would say on behalf of Aspire for Excellence Foundation, we have one final hand up, but maybe we can take all that maybe later. On behalf of Aspire for Excellence Foundation, we want to say thank you to you, Mr. Rotimi Ojamoy. I hope I pronounced it well. So I want to say a big thank you to you and to your team.